He actually did that with the hopes of auditioning for a boy band.
Sticking to your heart or selling your soul?
Kind of like Lion King, but this is a lot darker.
The disrespect that none of us picked it.
Welcome to Backseat Directing,
where we talk about movies, TV shows, comics, and more.
We're your hosts,
Andrew
and Arron.
And we put out new episodes every Monday and Thursday.
And on this episode, we're doing a movie score draft.
3, 2, 1, action.
Andrew, today we have a very special guest. He's a host, one of 3 of his own podcast, Cinema 3D. He composes his own music. He's a editor that I work with at a production studio in town. He's the best colorist in the United States. Fight me about it. And he makes his own music. Welcome, Justin.
Thank you.
Justin, normally when we have somebody on the show for the first time, we kind of like to throw the mic to you to do your own introduction. And I know we gave you no preparation and I was going to do this for you. But if Arron did a little introduction for you, is there anything that you'd want to add about yourself? What do you like? What are you interested in?
Yeah, I mean, definitely film and music. As Arron mentioned, I compose my own music for films. I do music as an artist on the side. For fun.
What's your artist name or page that people can go check out?
My artist name is Zay Vibes. It's actually Zay, but people are just easier to say Zay Vibes. Apple Music, Spotify.
It's like everywhere. A Rihanna pronunciation. Yeah. Everyone says it wrong.
Rihanna.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do that. Music's been a huge part of my life, so I love it. I started playing piano when I was 7, taught piano when I was 14, was in, I guess what you would call a boy band for a year. And then I was in an actual band for a year and a half, I want to say. And then now I just compose music for films and do music on the side. So I love music and I'm really excited to do this episode with you guys.
We finally can address Aaron's hair in this episode. It's been 4 episodes, but I want to say that he actually did that with the hopes of auditioning for a boy band in the local tri-state area.
Yeah, it didn't go well.
It didn't go well?
No. They rejected him saying that they were looking for a boy.
They're like, you're... I don't even... All right.
There's no response to that. Oh, man.
But and we're really glad to have you here. We appreciate you coming on over.
Yeah. Thank you.
I feel like this is the perfect draft for you being on this episode, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know much about music. It took me 18 years to learn how to clap on beat, and that's no joke. There was this, and senior year,
sad, but
but it was not intentional.
Yeah.
Not because I didn't want to. It's just I couldn't hear the beat.
Yeah.
You know. So in high school, my sister's really good with music, and I wanted to learn guitar. So she helped me figure out how to hear the beat of a song and stuff, and then I taught myself guitar a little bit, but that's as far as my music goes. You know. And then Andrew's always singing songs. You know, if he hears a lyric to a song, especially within conversation, he sings the rest of that verse.
Yeah, it's
like a disease. It's a sickness.
Yeah, that's what I call it anyway. It's like a compulsion. If it just lights up that pathway in my brain, then I just have to I have to sing it out.
No, I get that.
All right, so for today's draft, we're drafting 5 movies on our team to make up our team for the best score, original score, and we're going to stick to just instrumental.
The reason being there's so many good versions of original songs. I mean, songs like Jim's theme or Jim's song from Treasure Planet, songs that were originally written for movies, or the High School Musical soundtrack. There's so many original full songs written for movies in these different categories, whether it be something the characters sing or something like in Tarzan where the soundtrack's written and it's an absolute banger. We got to do these justice to these with their own categories. It's just picking only 5.
It's really hard to compare those versus the instrumentals for sure.
We wanted to narrow it down to we're picking a movie's entire catalog of their instrumental songs score.
Exactly. So we're going to do a snake draft. So the person who goes in the 3rd spot gets 2 picks. So it'll be first gets 1, second gets 1, third gets 2, and then we go back to second, back to first for 2 picks, and we go until we have 5 picks. So off the bat, I'm going to pick a randomizer and we'll randomly get our positions. But Justin, what spot are you hoping to get in
Based
this
off
randomizer?
the parameters, I kind of hope I get third.
Okay.
Okay. I'm definitely hoping for first. I have something that I want to snag off the board. Aaron?
Man, so first is like the place that you want to be when you know there's like
A
a
contentious
heavy hitter that's like basically going to win your whole team.
Yeah.
And then third is a good spot if there's like a bunch of good picks. And I feel like in this, there's both of those. You know, there's a bunch of good picks, but there's like maybe 1 or 2 movies that are like the heavy hitters that we're probably going to all draft first if we go first. So I'm kind of cool with going anywhere. If I get second, then we're all happy, right? So I guess I'll say second, and let's see
I have
how our
one
positions go.
question for you guys before we roll and find out the order. What do you guys want to pick first?
Nice try. Nice try.
I thought there was a chance it would work.
Yeah, I
Nice
mean,
try.
almost got me.
In third place, we have Justin. In second place, we have Andrew.
I figured.
And drafting first, we have myself, Aaron. So
At least somebody got what they wanted.
yeah, one of us did. Okay.
All right.
Well, man, drafts always make me nervous.
Yeah, I'm very nervous right now.
You know, because it's like, all right, here we go.
I got ice in my veins.
No, you don't. You're nervous too.
Never been nervous.
All right, I'm gonna pick for the first pick in this draft, Star Wars: Empire Strikes Back.
Ooh, heavy hitter.
Solid pick.
Yep. And I'm gonna go ahead and play.
It's okay, I got it.
Some of the Yeah, I mean, it's the Star Wars tracks in general are probably the most iconic instrumental scores ever, right? Like everyone knows
Debatable.
these songs.
Hugely debatable.
Okay, whatever you say, Andrew. You're always so salty when we do these
It's in the
things.
top 5 most iconic, yes.
Top 5.
Without-
You're just trying to
without a doubt.
diminish my picks here. So we have the Star Wars main theme, obviously.
Which this is, first of all, I want to pay respect where it's due. This is John Williams,
Yes.
the GOAT.
Which I was getting there. But yes.
This is going to be a John Williams love fest. We have to pick 15 scores. There's no way John Williams isn't going to be like.
Basically, whoever wins has the best non-John Williams pick.
That would most likely be me, honestly.
Underdog. But we also have Yoda's theme, but then of course we have the Imperial March, probably the most iconic Star Wars soundtrack ever. And it's not letting. Can you guys see this? Oh, there it goes. Here we go.
Now, do you know how many of the movies he composed for? I'm genuinely asking.
Well, I know he did for the first 3. I don't know about the
Which, like,
prequels.
that's the most important because he designed the music, blueprint for their universe.
Right.
But
Do you not know?
I'm not positive. No.
Okay.
I think he
Let me
did. I want to say he did. If not all 9,
The first 6. Is that what you're gonna say?
or he came back for 9.
Okay.
Right. I'm pretty sure he did.
The Duel of Fates is a really, really good song, and that is by John Williams. Anakin versus Obi-Wan is another one that I was looking at when I was doing my research for this, and I don't know if you have Anakin versus Obi-Wan on there, but that is a really good song.
Well, it didn't get picked, so it doesn't deserve to get played. So if you want to hear that song, Andrew, you gotta
Anakin versus
make a pick.
Obi-Wan is composed by John
doesn't
Williams.
deserve to get played.
So we're drafting by the movie.
John Williams was on all of the Star Wars.
We're drafting by the
Here.
movie, though, not by the franchise, right?
Yeah, by the movie.
So
Yeah.
which Star Wars movie did you pick? A New Hope?
You picked
Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
Oh, you picked Empire? Okay.
Yeah, because it's the first one with this song, the Imperial March.
But if I'm not
March
mistaken, I
is
think he's on every movie because most of the stuff is just kind
From
of retooled.
credited.
Yeah. But
Why mess with it?
yeah, exactly.
Right.
It's me.
Yeah. William Ross looks to be the other composer on The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. and then Rise of Skywalker is just John Williams.
That's awesome.
Well, I think we spent quite enough time discussing Aaron's first pick.
Yeah, because we all know it's going to win me the draft.
I don't know about that, but
it's. I believe that it's my turn now.
Yep.
Stu somehow hid that from us the entire time.
I'm gonna go ahead and
Jurassic World.
follow up with another pick by the legendary John Williams, the music composed for Jurassic Park, the original film.
Jurassic Worlds, right?
Jurassic Park.
Oh, sorry. All right, let me pull up that song, I guess.
I defy you guys. This to me is the most iconic score in movie history. And I'm not just saying that because it's the one I'm picking first. I've said it before on the show. I defy you to find something that captures the feeling of wonder and adventure more than this. I have a close second for adventure that I won't say yet because we'll leave it on the board as a mystery. But this is literally just when I went to Universal Studios and went on the Jurassic World ride, or the Jurassic Park ride it was. The gates open, this music swells. Literally tears came to my eyes. I can't explain the association that I have to like the connection to the movie and the feeling of the spirit of just like love and nature and wonder and excitement at the concept of life and the world. And I think this is like truly special that has clearly stood the test.
All right, Justin, your pick.
This hasn't got to the good part.
Cut him off. I'm not used to that yet.
There we go. Just a moment of silence.
All right, that's enough.
Man,
Justin.
I hope you don't do that to me.
No. Just, you weren't rude when I was talking about my pick. All right. Andrew was. So, Justin, the floor is yours. You get 2 picks back to back.
Oh, yes, that's right.
So,
Okay.
you get some time to think here. What do you want for your first pick?
All right. Before I get my first pick, I just want to note that I literally predicted what you guys were going to pick. I did not put Star Wars or Jurassic Park on my list because I figured either of you two would pick that first. And I had a feeling I was going to go third.
What I'm hearing is a testament to how good our picks were. So thank you.
It's
Yes.
also true. I did get lucky in this case because if I ended up where you guys didn't pick it, I would have been really pissed off at myself. All right, so for my first pick, I think the only thing, probably not the only thing, but the only thing in my opinion that can combat Empire and Jurassic Park as a first pick is the amazing best composition from this composer, Hans Zimmer, Interstellar. I think that is his best work he's done yet.
You gotta look up Cornfield Chase. I think it's the name.
Cornfield Chase, Day One's the main theme, but Cornfield Chase is amazing. Mountains used to be my favorite until TikTok, the expanded edition, came out. That one's just an expanded version of Mountains, but I'll play that real quick.
Which one?
Cornfield Chase.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit towards the end.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I immediately just can picture the movie in my mind when the music starts.
We really need to do an episode on this movie because I've only seen this movie once.
Don't do it without me.
I like this movie a lot.
This movie is amazing. I think I went to see it. I think I went to see it opening day. I mean, I didn't really know what to expect, honestly, because it was the Dark Knight trilogy, and then this movie came out, and Nolan, I hadn't seen his past work until after I watched Interstellar, and I was like, this dude's amazing. I gotta watch Prestige. I gotta watch Insomnia. I gotta watch all that. Interstellar is just as you were saying about Jurassic Park, I'm not saying that it's on the same level, or it's just a little bit different. It's just the love story, obviously dealing with time. The music is tension building.
You feel like a sadness in the music.
Sadness, but also this subtle hint of happiness at the same time. Super emotional.
Feel that.
It just draws you into the film. Like I remember talking to one of my friends. She said that this movie,
So much emotion.
this music is like at the end of crying when you see the optimistic
light
side. Yeah, it's like the light at the end of the tunnel is what.
Yeah.
And that I feel like that goes in sync with when they're like traveling at that one point in the movie, and he like sees
Yeah.
himself like it's like the light at the end of the tunnel. Of his,
Yep.
Yeah, I really want to watch this movie again. We should definitely do an episode on this movie sometime
It
soon.
is. It's phenomenal. I feel like this was Hans Zimmer, obviously like at his best, but I feel like Nolan trusting him after the Dark Knight trilogy and Inception, he was just like, do your thing. Whatever you come up with is going to be phenomenal, and this is what happened. So Interstellar, first pick of this draft, and I just remembered I have a second pick that I can go straight into.
That's right.
Before you go on, I want to say that it's crazy to me that Interstellar is such a good movie, and it's probably my 6th or 7th favorite Chris Nolan movie. I think it's just a testament to the quality of his filmography.
Yeah, I don't think he can really do no wrong. I mean, even his worst movie is still a great movie.
What's his worst movie?
Don't ask me that.
I think it's.
I would probably say Following, his first short film.
I still haven't seen Falling. I was going to say Tenet or Insomnia.
Yes, Following, just because it's his very first work. If I was going off of his like theatrical releases,
Falling's literally the only.
probably Insomnia.
It's the only Nolan movie I have to watch to finish his filmography.
You should watch it. I mean, I have it on Criterion if you want to borrow it. It's great.
Really?
Yeah. But yeah, Insomnia literally just, it's hard to stay awake during that movie, which I guess is a testament to how the title. But
Yeah. I actually really enjoyed it, even though it's far from perfect and very eligible for his least good movie. But what did you think about Memento?
I thought it was great. I've only seen it once. I need to watch it again. I know that was a movie that kind of got him on the map.
Yeah. This is a separate episode topic, but I just wanted to sidebar
Yeah.
because I like Memento a lot, and I think that I love talking about Chris Nolan. But I'll let you.
That one probably deals with time almost the most, if I was going to say. So, and I love time. So, but anyway, moving on to my second pick.
Dun dun.
Sticking none other than with Hans Zimmer, we'll go with The Lion King.
Ooh.
Now, looking on that, obviously we're just sticking to instrumentals. On Apple Music, because that's what I use. I don't use Spotify. I only found 3 official releases on the main album, which is This Land, To Die For, and King of Pride Rock. But just those 3 alone put it at number 2 for me.
Which one's your favorite of those 3?
King of Pride Rock, if you go to minute 4, second number 20. That part, obviously you have to listen to the 4 minutes and 20 seconds before that to get the full effect. But
Sorry, minute 4.
420.
Ha. So, as a composer, Hans Zimmer has 232 credits on IMDb. Insane.
Dang.
Solid.
I didn't even know he did Lion King.
Listen to this. Like, animated film, 1994, I want to say is correct. I should know this, but you know, sometimes my mind slips. This is an animated film.
The animated films have the best
The
scores.
Lion King actually came out in 2019.
No,
embarrassing.
We're not talking about that one. All right, that's a whole different topic right now.
94 is correct.
The thing that's interesting, Aaron, about you saying you didn't know this was Hans Zimmer is like, if you literally you can throw out like 5 names. If you look through a list of the greatest scores of all time, it's like
They've done
Hans
it
Zimmer,
every movie.
John Williams, James Newton Howard, John Powell, Danny Elfman, and then there's like maybe like a couple more that I'm missing.
Yeah, like Howard Shore, maybe.
Howard Shore, what's his name? The guy who was in
Alan Silvestri.
Knives Out too. What's that guy's name? He was in Glass Onion.
As an actor?
Yeah, he had a cameo. Remember he talks about him when they're doing like the music box.
I have not seen that
I'm
movie,
not
so
gonna remember it.
All right, let's.
I did not find it. But Lion King, it won an Oscar, and I think that says everything for itself. So, and I think another fun fact about it is Hans Zimmer didn't want to do this score. It wasn't until his daughter was like pleading with him, like, please, daddy, do this. And he did it, and it turns out to be an Oscar winner, and it sets so many people's childhoods, like mine, into such an amazing like memory that I can live on with the rest for my life. So yeah, Lion King number 2, Interstellar number 1. I think we're ready to move on. I think I'm doing pretty good right now. So
Whatever you say.
yeah.
I'm caught right now as it's coming back to me, and I could go a lot of different routes. I could go to try and curry favor with the audience. I could go for what I truly enjoy the most.
I think that's the worst part about these drafts, is like balancing what your favorites are versus what you think people would vote for.
My list would be completely different besides the first pick. I've only listed 2, but yeah, it is a tough spot.
So, what are you going for here?
I am...
You leaning towards your favorite or for the vote? Sticking to your heart or selling your soul?
I want to pick all the animated picks so bad. All right. Just for the sake of picking quicker, I'm going to pick the score to How to Train Your Dragon by John Powell. If you would play Test Drive and maybe start it at about 30 seconds.
Test Drive?
Yeah. So this song kind of caught fire on TikTok. And it's another one. Like I hate to pick them for similar reasons, but just like the spirit of adventure, like there's like also a feeling of like love in this as well. Just the connection between him and Toothless, like right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
This dude should be a composer with the movements he's doing.
God dang. Oh my goodness. Like, it's just nothing, like, hardly anything hits like that. You know what I mean? Like, that makes me feel like I'm standing on a mountain with wind blowing in my face and, like, the whole landscape of the world's laid out before me and the rising sun is in the distance. Like, It feels like a freaking adventure in a bottle. Like, it feels like lightning. It's so good.
It is. It is. That's such a great movie too.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. It's honestly, it's kind of unappreciated movie, and not to say that there's not a lot of people that like it. You just don't hear it get brought up in conversation as much as some animated movies. Like you hear it brought up less than Shrek or maybe in like Nemo or Lion King. Like you don't hear it in the same conversation, maybe because it hasn't existed as long as like the Lion King. But
yeah, if we did like a top 5 animated movies, like this would be fighting for one of the top 2 or 3 spots, like
if we did top franchises, amazing for sure. Definitely.
And that's another thing, like the sequels after are just as good too, which doesn't always happen that way.
Especially for animated movies.
I think they kind of missed with the name for this one. I think they could have come up with a better title, and I think it would have maybe changed some of the performance aspects of the movie.
Toothless and Hiccup.
You don't like you don't think the title How to Train Your Dragon?
I don't. I think they could be a better title than How to Train Your Dragon.
I like that title.
I like it, but
not saying that it'll appeal to the most people though. Okay, my turn. I get 2 picks. It's always exciting when you pick first and you're like, wow, they have so many good picks on their team, and then it's back to you and you're like, oh, I get 2 picks here, and there's so many decisions to pick, but I think I'm just gonna go with my gut here. I was really hoping I would get this movie and that it would still be on the board, and I was trying to see like where you guys would fall. I'm gonna go ahead and play the song here as I talk.
I have a guess. Oh yeah,
bro, it's perfect. Okay, the man, I can't even talk. I'm just so excited that this is on my team.
It's another adventure one.
Yes, exactly. And not only is it like the perfect music throughout the movie, but Jack Sparrow is perfectly cast as Johnny Depp perfectly cast as Jack Sparrow. So I'm very excited that Pirates of the Caribbean: The Curse of the Black Pearl is on my team. I love this movie. This movie is my favorite of the franchise. And yeah, the song's so good. Like just listen to that, like it has a good mix, like you were saying, of like the adventure, but then also of like the terror and the fear that goes behind like pirates, like it definitely captures the pirate spirit, but not in like a goofy way, in a very serious tone, while still being a little lighthearted. So Pirates of the Caribbean is my second pick, and now I have to skim through my list here and decide what I want for my third. There's still a lot of options out there.
I'm gonna want to go to more than 5. I can already tell you guys right now.
I mean, I definitely have honorable mentions that I want to mention after we're done. So,
Yeah.
You definitely took some heat off me picking Pirates of the Caribbean, because now I don't have to rack my brain for whether I'm gonna pick that.
yep.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah, I'm still thinking of this other one here. All right, since I'm still trying to wrap my brain around my next pick, I want to take a moment to thank the audience and to remind them that we post new episodes every Monday and Thursday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and then we post clips on every social media. We're on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. So there's a lot of ways that you can interact with us. Definitely hit us up in the comments. We'll go back and forth. Tell us in the comments below that Andrew's team sucks so far, and he'll definitely argue you until he dies.
Yeah, people love being wrong.
All right, I think I know my pick here. I'm going to go ahead and lock in the third person in my team, third movie on my team, and I'm going to pick Into the Spider-Verse.
Okay.
This one is, like, when we didn't specify instrumentals, this was definitely like top tier pick.
Oh yeah,
including all the soundtracks.
Sunflower, Scared of the Dark, like those songs are iconic.
But I went through and I looked up like the actual soundtrack, and I was like, man, this still hits so hard. Which on Spotify, it actually took me a little while to find it, so I had to go onto YouTube. So give me a second to pull this up. Real quick, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse score. But yeah, the song or the score is very dynamic. It has like a lot of the glitching sound effects in the score and stuff, which I think is really cool. That's the whole movie. That's not what I want. Is this it? Let me see. This is a commercial. This is not what I picked. All right, guys. So
Sucks.
I've heard better.
okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Here we go. It's just hype, man.
This is workout music.
Yeah, for real.
This is what they play at the end when he's like finally got his groove on, and he's like, now he's Spider-Man. He's moving. He's shaking.
Yeah. And there's a bunch of other songs too that are really good that aren't on Spotify, because when you search the soundtrack or the score for Into the Spider-Verse, it just gives you like a compilation of all the actual songs that are in the movie, so it's really hard to find the score.
This doesn't just feel like a rehashed Spider-Man score. This feels like it's
refreshed.
Miles' theme song.
Yep.
Yeah, it's very much so like the movie. It's like a different take on Spider-Man. It's a new take on Spider-Man.
It gets electric, like.
Yeah. So I feel like this is like a good dynamic to add to my team.
Yeah.
We have the classics with the Star Wars. We have the fun with the pirates. And then this is like kind of out there a little bit, a little edgy,
No, I mean, I don't. I think that one thing I forgot to mention when I started was music in film is the most important part to me, because if the music is not good, then the film is just not going to be as good. And with how edgy Into the Spider-Verse is with its visuals, the music had to match up with the visuals.
Yeah.
And I think this landed perfectly. So
I completely and wholeheartedly disagree. And I think we should do a debate on that sometime, because I don't think music is. I mean, it's obviously, you're saying subjective to you, but I would argue that I put like 3 elements above the music for me. And when doing a movie, I'd put the cinematography above it, definitely the writing and the acting. I mean,
when we rank movies, we have our categories, and I'm pretty sure they're pretty close to the order that you care about the most, which is story's
first,
acting,
story's king,
cinematography, sound design, set design, rewatchability. So, and I'm pretty sure that's the order that you like the most, right?
I'd flip it around a little bit. I would put probably cinematography maybe above acting. I don't know.
Really?
No.
What?
I'd put cinematography.
Out of here.
No, I put it below acting, because acting goes into how you believe the story.
Yeah, acting is super important.
Cinematography is so fun though.
I guess I think Arron you'd understand from an editing perspective,
How hard it is to.
like music.
If you
but
have
also
a good
just
song, your
audio.
edit's going to be so good.
Yeah, but also just audio in general. Like most filmmakers know that if your audio is crap, no one's gonna watch your stuff.
Yeah.
If your visuals
Like
are
our first 50 episodes of our podcast.
no, okay, I've watched some of those. The audio is not crap. All right, it's good.
I think that audio is definitely an underappreciated aspect.
It's
for sure.
It's like very common in the film space to say that it's like half of the viewing experience
Yeah.
is the sound.
Yeah.
And you're obviously not watching sound, but it plays such an important factor to how you experience what you're seeing.
Because I think visuals are, like you said, half of it, but the audio of what you're listening to is what gets you to that emotional level of
Yeah.
what you're witnessing. So
I would agree that it's one
That-
of, if not the most important aspect.
Yeah. That's why I think music just takes the audio to that next level. But obviously, story, cinematography, acting, those are huge key components of films.
Yeah.
So
I think if you have, going kind of fighting Andrew here, if you had like just a locked off shot or like there wasn't as many dynamic camera slides or movements, but you had really good song, like that movie would be better than something that has really creative cinematography, but crappy music.
Yeah.
Here's the thing,
sound
though.
design.
Here's what I equate it to is when you have great music in a movie, it can be very impactful. Silence can also be very impactful.
Yes, I
So
would agree.
if you
But I
can,
think
if you
that-
can hold on, if you can take the music out and it still have a very impactful moment, you can't take story out and still have a very impactful moment. So if it's something
But you
that-
said cinematography.
I still value personally. I still value cinematography over is something that I'm like. If I'm gonna say like I really love or really hate a movie based on its music or its cinematography, the music's not going to take me out of it as much.
That's fair.
okay, yeah.
I mean, everyone
I think
has the
it's-
right to be wrong. No big deal.
I mean, I think it is a very, very subjective thing because I think each film, there's, like you said, we could shift around story versus cinematography and all that stuff. I think each film lends itself to weighing into more of those specific categories, but I do agree. Silence does have its virtue.
I feel like
No, Last Jedi is very, very, debatable movie. That one part where it went to silence and everyone flipped out thinking that the theaters were, jacked up. That was a very great moment where it was like, holy crap, this is what silence can do. It just draws you into that moment.
Yeah.
Like,
But I think not playing music kind of goes into the sound design element of filmmaking. Choosing when to play a song, when to play a track, when to have sound effects is a part of that sound design, I would say. Would you agree?
I would agree, but I think you could make a movie without playing a single song and it wouldn't bother me nearly as much as if you made a movie with terrible acting the whole time.
yeah, because there were silent movies back in the day. So
Yeah.
it's hard to really argue that. But
All right, let's go back to our draft here. Andrew, I don't have your second pick. You have Jurassic Park, and then what did you pick
How to
second?
Train Your Dragon.
Yes. And for your third pick, what are you thinking?
Did you already make both of your picks?
Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pirates and Spider-Man.
For my third pick, the fact that it's still on the board is unbelievable, and I have to take it. Just somebody to give this some goddamn respect. I'm gonna pick Hans Zimmer's score for The Dark Knight.
Yeah, I had that on the list for sure. But I just felt like Spider-Verse was just a little bit above for me. But yeah, this track, when I got my first editor, I made this little like mini movie with my sister. And all of the songs were Hans Zimmer songs from The Dark Knight that I plugged in throughout.
These are great picks.
Can you play the very last song on there? It should be called like The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
So the end scene of The Dark Knight is something since I was a kid that I have looked up on YouTube and played for myself if I need like a burst of just confidence or joy or inspiration.
Before you went to an interview, you're listening to
I
this.
remember my mom driving me to my first day of high school, and I had headphones in, watching that, and it's because
Batman mask on.
it is largely because of Gary Oldman's speech, but also like the music that comes in at the end of this, the drums, the bass. It's like
Hans Zimmer has really good like bass.
it feels
for
like
sure.
like the thumping of a human heart, like the aggressive, like visceral nature of.
Yeah, that's the thing about Hans Zimmer. I mean, as much as Nolan deals with time, Hans Zimmer loves to use that metronome feeling part in his music where it matches the beat of your heart and it draws you into the music like no other composer can, in my opinion. So
Yeah.
That's awesome. That explanation that you just gave ties into a feeling that I felt for a really long time and explains it. So I hope people listening appreciate that too. But even before you cut to the drums, just like the speech of Dad, why is he running? Because we have to chase him. But he didn't do anything wrong. It's oh my god, like that whole section of that movie. This is something that I said in the show when we talked last time we talked about scores, which is you start to realize when you listen to these just in your free time that you can. This is why so serious.
Yeah,
you realize that you can.
I specifically remember putting this into that little film that I made.
Yeah,
but you can literally recreate the feeling of watching this almost for the first time of watching these scenes just by playing these songs. Like it lights up a pathway in your brain where you can picture the movie in your head again, and it's such a cool feeling that music has this control over us.
Yep. I love that you said that because I watched that episode and I was like, yes, I agree with you. Like, a lot of times when I listen to soundtracks, I see those scenes in my mind. That's why I keep wanting to replay the songs, whether I'm at the gym or at home or literally trying to sleep. Like I'll replay them in my mind.
That's how I relate to music, is based off of memory. Like I'm not very good at memorizing lyrics or anything to songs, but I remember moments and emotions, and that's
whether they're good or bad.
Movies for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Because if they're bad, you're not going to listen to them again. But if they're good, you're going to go back to them almost every day if you can.
Yeah, like I'll listen to a song and I'll turn to my wife and be like, "This song reminds me of this. I was here and there and this." Yeah. And she's like, "What?" Like, I'm like, "Where was the first place you heard this song?" And she's like,
"I don't know."
I don't know. But then she knows every word to the song, and I know like just the sound of it, you know.
Yeah.
So there's certain songs that come on. I'm like, oh man, I feel like I'm sitting on the carpet playing Xbox, like playing this certain game. You know, it's cool the way that it really transports you.
Yeah, for sure. A solid pick. I had a feeling that you were going to take that if it was still on the board. I'm surprised that it did take this long to
debated taking it first. I mean, I'm trying to intersperse my animated picks because I really could have picked all 5 of them from animated movies.
I'm trying to intersperse my Hans Zimmer picks.
Right now, I will say that I have a John Williams, a John Powell, and a Hans Zimmer. So I've got a diverse list here.
So do I. I have John Williams. Pirates is Klaus. I don't know how to say his last name.
Bedalt and Joff Zanelli.
Yep. And then
Jeff.
Into the Spider-Verse. I don't think I have that one written down.
You fool. Disrespecting the composer.
That was one of my last like movies that I thought of to add onto this list. And when I did, I was
one of your favorite movies ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's literally on your wall.
Yeah, I know.
Daniel Pemberton. I knew I was going to recognize the name when I saw it. Music composed by Daniel Pemberton.
Okay. Sounds familiar. I feel like he's done some other work.
So I still need a Hans Zimmer pick.
Well, I might take another one away from you.
Let's take them all.
All right. So, for my third pick, also kind of surprised that this one's still available, but I'm glad. This is a film, part of a trilogy that has over 100 hours of composed music, and I'm going to pick the first film, Lord of the Rings: The Fellowship of the Ring.
Howard Shore, right?
Howard Shore. Yep.
Yeah. One of the most iconic scores ever written. Yeah.
There are so many different themes. Like when you look at a movie, usually there's one main theme, then like some character themes. But this is 3 to 4 hour, when you talk about the extended cut films, that
Any
has
particular song?
multiple themes. From the first one, I really love, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correct, but Amon Hen. I think it's one of the last tracks on the album. It's it's towards the end of the film where it introduces like the Isengard theme, and I want to say it's like a minute or two in where that real dark portion comes in.
You want me to skip
to a
toward
minute.
it?
Yes.
Is that too far? Or?
I think it's getting there.
All right. We'll keep talking about
But
it.
yeah, so Lord of the Rings, I mean, I watched these 3 films with my sister so much growing up, and I didn't really know much about film, but they just stuck with me. Kind of like Lion King, but this is a lot darker. The music obviously drew me in. Won 3 Academy Awards for the music specifically, which is kind of unheard of, honestly. That part right there. Like, I don't know. Ending on a first film, and we've seen films where they end kind of dramatic, like Infinity War and stuff like that, but this was the first film in what people didn't know or did know was going to be a trilogy, and it's like you're so happy that Frodo and Sam made it across the river, and then it ends with this, and you're just like, holy crap, what is going to happen in the next film or the third film?
You want to hear something crazy?
What?
Andrew doesn't like the Lord of the Rings.
I'm very sorry for you,
He's
Andrew.
like, dang it, I hope that didn't come out.
Listen,
I've been trying to keep a lid on this.
to each his own. All right, but for me, I love Lord of the Rings. I don't know if you've seen Harry Potter, but I haven't seen Harry Potter, so maybe that makes you kind of sad. But
I love Harry Potter.
okay, I haven't seen it. So,
Harry Potter is like my preferred fantasy story out of like the big ones. Like I prefer Harry Potter over Star Wars and over Lord of the Rings. Last time I watched the Fellowship of the Ring, I was 18 years old, I think, and it took like 3 times of like trying to stay awake, and I just feel like Fellowship is a really slow story, kind of like A New Hope is too. Like,
Yeah.
it's just there's not enough to keep me in it, and they're introducing you to a lot of characters, and I know that they're dealing with like quite a bit of source material. They're trying to do justice to everything, but I don't believe that a franchise should have to wait until the 2nd or 3rd movie to really pick up with that kind of stuff, and that kind of bothers me.
I mean, could agree, but I think it was kind of understood that they were going to do 3 movies. But it's hard to really argue that, because I know first time I showed a couple of my friends, they just didn't like it either. So I grew up with it, so obviously I'm going to love it.
I just love the world of Harry Potter more, the magical world, and like Hogwarts. I like it a lot more than Middle Earth. It's just
Let me come back to you in a few years when I've seen all of them.
Few years.
My wife loves Harry Potter, but I've chosen not to see any clips from them because I don't want to be spoiled. And I
Yeah.
don't wanna
Let's do a
watch-
marathon.
My
would be
wife loves
amazing.
Harry Potter too, and I didn't watch them growing up, so we had like a marathon where we watched all of them back to back to
Yeah.
back to back.
You like
I
it?
don't even know the difference between the movies.
They're all just know them as
one
Harry Potter.
big movie, Harry
All I know
Potter.
is Harry Potter himself and that Voldemort's in it somewhere. So
I will do a marathon of Lord of the Rings if you do one of Harry Potter. I know that's me committing to. I'll do the original trilogy. That's gonna be committing to 3 movies, while you are committing
It's
to.
like 9.
now I'll
It's
do
8.
I'll
8.
do a Harry Potter, not Fantastic Beasts as of yet.
Okay.
Beasts.
There we go. All right.
All right. What's the
Sounds
timeline? I'm gonna be gone in Spain.
1 week from today.
Yeah.
Your mission. Should you choose to?
I mean, realistically, let's say within the next like 5 to 6 months.
Okay.
Boom.
Sounds like a fair plan.
I like it.
I just hope they're on Netflix.
I think my wife bought them all on Vudu. So
Ooh.
There we go. I know Harry Potter is on HBO Max.
okay, and I think Lord of the Rings is too.
Yeah.
So we'll be good.
Just for sheer volume, though, that's a good pick. Lord of the Rings. I mean, like you said,
Yeah.
what do you have as your pick? Your 4th
Yep.
pick?
That's my 3rd pick: Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring.
Okay. And then you have one.
Oh,
Your 4th.
perfect.
You get another one. Back to back.
Oh, no, panic,
so-
panic.
Not straying too far from my
Harry Potter.
this is where this is where I did a quick like switch because I had something different, but I'm feeling it right now, and this was my initial favorite score of all time until I listened to Interstellar more and more and more.
I will say you listen to movie soundtracks a lot. While
every
you're
day.
editing,
Yeah.
you're playing movie soundtracks in the
Every
background.
single day I listen to movie soundtracks or Drake. So it's either or. This is my favorite film of all time, which might make you guys mad or glad. I don't know. But Hans Zimmer yet again. Inception.
Boom.
I think that score. You agree? It's a great pick.
It's a good favorite film of all time.
Okay.
It's in my top 10.
Thank God. A lot of people hate
All
me
right,
for
we can
that.
all stay friends
I
now.
don't know why.
I freaking love Inception.
Yes.
God
Yeah.
dang, that movie's so good.
People just get pissed off because they can't understand it. And it's really not that hard to
I feel like
understand.
it's a pretty easy Christopher Nolan movie to understand.
Yeah, it's
Am I wrong?
It's
Like,
a little complicated, but I think that
maybe I've just seen it too many times to where it's like easy to
a good
me.
thing.
this
you
is
know?
going to make no sense, but I think The Dark Knight is my favorite movie of all time, but Inception is my favorite Chris Nolan movie. Does that make no sense?
it makes
Yeah,
sense.
that's weird.
It makes sense because I kind of agree with that. Because that's the problem I have when I say Inception is my favorite film, but people are like, it's not the best film. I'm like, okay, I get it that you love Godfather and you love Empire, but like Inception is my favorite.
Yeah.
But then it's like, yeah, I get that. Dark Knight is a freaking phenomenal film. But Inception,
Which
a lot-
song do you like the most out of the soundtrack?
I mean, Time's iconic. I would just play Time. But Dream is Collapsing is phenomenal too.
That one is
Yeah,
good.
the whole soundtrack. I literally listened to that like before I met you. I would listen to that all the time at work. That
Yeah.
and Interstellar. People make fun of the soundtrack because it has the blah,
Yeah.
but that's the one that kind of started that. Like I remember
Play Blade
watching.
Runner.
I remember watching it. Like, on the episode, it was like, and I was like, Hans Zimmer did it first in Inception.
Hans Zimmer also did Blade Runner, didn't he?
He
I'm pretty
and
sure, yeah.
Benjamin Wallfish, I want to say. But yeah, he. I think 3 words that I could describe the Inception soundtrack as is innovation, intensity, and integration. Because innovation, it created some new sounds for film that we haven't really heard too much. Intensity, obviously, throughout the whole film. The film deals with time. It, like I said earlier, it gets you with that heartbeat rhythm. And how many levels of dreams you're going down into, you kind of forget, and the music just elevates that level of forgetfulness. Integration, it works so well with the editing of the film, the way it looks, the way it feels. I just think Hans Zimmer did a phenomenal job.
I feel like what that song was just capturing, and I want to talk about it, but I didn't switch the song. But Time, I feel like was capturing kind of like the feeling for me of like longing, of the like escapist nature of time and how there's never enough, and the feeling of like here it is, it's back, and the feeling of like kind of the fear associated with time and the fear associated with love, kind of like the relationship between is her name Mauve?
I should know this.
Mauve, it's with an M.
Mauve.
You know I'm not good with names.
Mauve. Cobb. Mauve.
Cobb and his wife. And she's a great villain. Marion Cotillard, I think,
Yeah.
the actress. Oh my god, she's
How,
on when she's with Chris Nolan.
emotional too to have the wife be the villain.
Yeah.
I feel like whenever there's a spouse involved, I can't help but put myself into their shoes, and like especially when a spouse dies or something, like I'm wrecked.
That's
Yeah.
the thing
You
too.
know?
People forget. A lot of people forget that Inception isn't just like a visual film. It's
story is so
The
good.
story. It's got levels. It's got a
wanna watch
love
it right now.
story. It's literally levels. Yeah. It's love. It's drama. It's sci-fi. It's action. It's everything. Like Chris Nolan was like, all right, I did The Dark Knight. Haven't done Rises yet. I'm gonna make a film that's better, if not better than The Dark Knight. Totally different thing. Like.
That's so. Imagine being in between making The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises and being like, let me just put this out there.
Yeah.
Drops Inception.
And then 2 years after Rises drops Interstellar. Like,
Yeah, because
Yeah.
this was what? 2008, I think,
Definitely
is The Dark Knight.
peak
2011 is Inception. And
10.
2010. Okay,
Yeah.
and then 2012 is Dark Knight Rises. So like,
yeah. Which
when does a man sleep?
Peak
Yeah, he
Nolan,
does.
right? Those 4 or 5 years.
That was his
he doesn't have
best
time
friend,
to
I think.
sleep. Like,
He's too busy playing with time. But this is, I love Inception. Like you said, the story is so good.
yeah.
The music is great. Practical filmmaking mixed with really awesome special effects as well. The fact always blows my mind that they actually created that makeshift train and physically drove it through a town. And then
Also, of course, the spinning hallway.
Oh, dude.
yes, and then when you look at just the cast on paper, holy hell!
Yeah.
I mean, like
That was his
Michael
first
Caine,
act.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Leonardo DiCaprio, Elliot Page, Tom Hardy, like, what's the Cillian Murphy? Like, you could just go on and on. Like, this cast is sick.
Yeah, solid pick. We need to have a Nolan like month
Nolan, yeah.
where like one of our episodes every week is on Nolan. Maybe 2 films
I
or
feel like
a
I'm just
topic
gonna
on
end up
Nolan.
joining your podcast, but I don't want to not be on those episodes.
Is
'cause he's,
that also your favorite director?
Yes.
That's my favorite director.
like hands down, like no debate, he's my favorite director. I'm so
Solid.
excited for Oppenheimer, which is also shocking why you mentioned Barbie and not Oppenheimer.
Now you're
So Justin's referencing our box office draft where Andrew picked Barbie for his 5th
But
teammate.
I explained why I didn't pick.
I've seen so much stuff since I watched that episode about a week ago on Instagram that has made me sad, and people so excited about Barbie and not Oppenheimer. So you might be right.
I predicted this, I think.
Did you see how much Mario made its opening weekend?
I did not.
Can we get back to our picks?
It was a lot, man. It was a lot. Was it?
That was your pick, right?
Yeah.
It was almost $400 million.
Yeah, it was like 377. Yeah.
Oof.
It's like almost as much as Ant-Man was its whole time in theaters.
I still haven't seen it.
Not to rub it in or anything, but Ant-Man was on Andrew's.
I'm sorry, but I'm probably going to wait till it comes out on digital, so.
Me too.
Wait, and you went to see it?
You might go watch it again.
I might go see it twice.
Is it good?
It's good. I liked it.
Oh, man, I got to watch it. All right, yeah, definitely back to the topic.
Yeah. Andrew, you are up for your 4th pick. What are you taking?
Continuing in my fashion, I'm going to pick another composer that I have not mentioned so far. I am going to pick Michael Giacchino for composing the first Incredibles movie.
Ooh, nice.
Man, dude, you guys don't miss. Jeez.
I love that movie.
Just was watching this movie with my nephew over the weekend. I'm just, trying to introduce him to peak content. And and this score is so good. It's bombastic. It's explosive. It feels like being like it feels as closely related to a superhero.
Bro, that brings me back to when I was like 8. Like, holy crap.
This song that you're playing right now, like the main theme,
The glory days.
it goes like up and down like a couple times. Like there's a whole like journey you could draw on a map through the song. It changes style up a little bit. It's a little jazzy, and then it's
Dang, I hate this. This is such a good pick.
It is.
Stupid.
Yeah.
you turn it up a little bit.
I'm kind of
Yeah.
jealous.
So the audience hear this for a little
Yeah,
bit.
the podcast ends now.
Bro.
This is the end credits song.
Just
Here
10
we go.
minutes of credits for the
You
podcast.
hear that jazz? What is that? Sax?
Bro, this could be in a bar and also at a gym, and I would be fine with it. Like,
Definitely. Are any of these songs in your like editing mix?
I haven't put Incredibles in the mix because it would literally push me past the point of like not focusing on my editing.
Yeah, you need that like background music. Some things are just a
Yeah.
little too much.
Need something a little more chill.
I mean, if me myself, I don't know how to edit like you guys, but if I was trying to edit something and Test Drive came on from How to Train Your Dragon, I would just float out of my seat,
Stranger Things.
look like Sadie Sink, just floating in my eyes rolling back in my head.
Oh man, that is a solid pick.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think Michael Giacchino's been mentioned yet, right?
I don't think so. No.
He's another one of the big names,
Yeah, he is.
and he's done quite a bit of really good animated work as well. Which I mean, Hans Zimmer has too.
All right. Do we move on to mine now?
I'm ready. I don't think much more needs to be said about this.
So this will wrap up my team here. Which
What?
Yeah, he's on 5.
no, I'm on 4 and 5.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So you guys have one more pick, and I got my 2 here, which is kind of bittersweet. You know, it's like it's
I don't want this to end.
almost over. Yeah.
Why don't we just extend it to 10?
I can keep going. I got
Oh man. Okay, I think I have my 2 picks. But there's one that's like there. That's like
You just got to do it.
I know. That's tough. Okay, I'm gonna pick.
He still doesn't know.
I'm sorry, guys. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead
Do
and
you want a 6th pick so you can feel more comfortable making your choice right now?
a 6th pick.
I-
No, because then we're gonna add a 7th pick, and then an 8th pick, and then
Listen,
the podcast
I mean-
episode's never gonna end.
That's
got
okay.
some long boys.
People don't talk about scores enough. Maybe
That's
we
true.
should be the first.
That's true. 50% of the viewing experience.
Yeah,
Just as, if not more important than cinematography.
in my opinion. Maybe not in Andrew's, but
Okay. Here's what I'm gonna pick. I'm gonna pick one that I couldn't stop like humming the song when I left the theaters after watching this movie. I love the violin in particular. My movie that I'm gonna pick is Sherlock Holmes.
Oh yeah,
Man, I
that's
haven't
Hans
seen
Zimmer, right?
Yep.
Man, this dude.
that's sad, bro. I
This
haven't,
dude's
I haven't
a
seen those
monster.
movies.
You haven't?
No.
They're good.
Oh my
This is, gonna
God.
be, this is gonna be the first time I ever listened to it.
You would have been better off watching them when you were still like school age.
Yeah.
And I think that you would like them more, but it's still good to watch now.
They're really good.
Now,
You can put-
I,
well,
think
who-
I think they stand up.
I can poke holes in them a little bit more now. I don't enjoy it as much.
who is the actor in it? 'Cause I know there's been some remakes.
Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law.
Okay.
Robert RDJ.
Listen to that. Let's go.
I get the murder mystery vibe.
Yeah. It's and every song is like this, you know, it's
I feel like it almost has like a Sherlock-esque feeling of the character itself because there's like kind of this like all over the place aspect to it at first, but then there's like a very behind the scenes like a refined, controlled
Yeah.
tune that's being played.
I love in the movie when he's like picking at the violin and
Yeah.
stuff. Like it's just so cool. I definitely recommend watching these movies, even if Andrew says he can poke holes in them now. He pokes holes in everything.
It's fine to be able to poke
I
holes
mean,
in
I feel
something.
like we can all poke holes in
Yeah.
every film. So
But I'm telling
Yeah,
you,
The
like,
Dark Knight has its holes, you know,
It's
like
just-
this whole thing.
yeah.
it's just a different feeling. It's a movie I put up on a pedestal. I mean, I used to literally put this on at night. I would put this movie on to go to sleep when I was around middle school age. Put it on and just like watch the opening and slowly fall asleep. Like this movie was like a comfort movie for me.
Yeah. Mhm.
So then when you watch it again, like years later, then you can you might be a little more
These
critical.
Yeah.
fight scenes are so cool. The way that they display them. I don't know why we didn't pick any of them in our fight scene draft, but maybe we did talk about them. But anyways, it's really cool because he sees what's going to happen before it happens, and they show that all in like super slow motion, and then it actually happens and they show it like super fast. It's the coolest thing. It's kind of like the Flash, you know, like you see him going through and everything's like frozen in space,
Yeah.
and then everything just falls and moves and like it got hit. It's kind of like that.
Reverse,
I love,
reverse detective mode.
Yeah.
I love a movie where somebody just always seems to know what to do in every situation, like Taken.
Mm-hmm.
And I recently saw somebody online refer to it as competency porn, just like getting to see somebody be really good at something. And Sherlock is that. Like he's just very competent in a lot of
man.
arenas.
John Wick.
Yeah, John Wick. It's all
I've never heard competency
it's all-
porn ever.
it's all competency porn, man.
Oh, that is
Man,
great.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I will
But-
definitely put those on my list.
I would say this, and maybe it's just because I'm like biased and I really like these movies growing up, but Robert Downey Jr. as Sherlock Holmes is like
Superman.
top tier casting. You shut up.
I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna
He's
jump
really
over
good.
this
No,
table
he's
and
good.
punch you. Like,
You're
It's-
very acutely aware he's not British when you watch it as an adult. It's my
I don't know. I love it.
So I assume it's better than his Doolittle film he did recently.
I haven't seen that.
I haven't seen it either, but I heard terrible reviews.
Yeah.
yikes.
All right. Let's move on to my last pick here.
I'm gonna guess you're gonna pick the Teletubbies movie.
How'd you guess that? That was quick. That was good. All right, that wraps up my thought.
I just know you.
Teletubbies is underrated.
This is the hill that Aaron dies on.
If you would actually pick that, I think I would just own you as a friend.
like my jacket. He takes off his shirt and underneath it's like a Teletubby shirt that he's been wearing the whole time. Super tight crop top.
And I have the TV painted on my belly.
Oh my goodness.
This is my Teletubby.
Okay, well, I'm kind of going in between two picks right here. One is probably the iconic pick, but then there's the other one that I like more.
Iconic versus nostalgic.
Yeah, and I think I'm gonna go with the nostalgic pick.
Only right choice.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta stay true to myself.
One for them, two for me.
That's right. I don't overly like the Star Wars, so that was for the fans, so like this one's for me. I'm gonna go ahead and pick the Avengers.
How did I forget that?
I'm glad that it got taken off the board, because sometimes part of the pain of like me not picking something is the disrespect that none of us picked it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I'm glad you guys picked your first two.
Yeah. No, I mean, like,
no, this is iconic.
Iconic for sure. But this was like the nostalgic pick, like
Silvestri.
Yep.
Was it?
I mean, the fact that like it's hard to reach the level of this iconic because obviously it's in the MCU, but this was only the 6th film.
Yeah.
I think when this theme first came out.
2012. This was like they're still like just starting out.
11 years, and you have it. It's as iconic, in my opinion, as far as like the general population would recognize this as much as the Star Wars theme or Jurassic Park
nowadays.
theme.
Yeah, it's just as big. Have you
It's crazy.
Have you guys seen Earth's Mightiest Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, the animated TV show?
I've watched a few episodes.
No.
That theme song is straight gas, fire.
Better than this one? Hard to say.
What is it?
Because that one has lyrics. It's apples and oranges.
Gotcha. Well, then I'm not gonna play it. We don't play.
Definitely,
songs
I've
with words.
watched all of Avengers Assemble, but I haven't watched all of
Best
Mighty.
TV show title sequences. That's an episode topic right there. Let us know in the comments if you want to hear that one.
Yeah, I got some opinions on that one.
I'm gonna write that down so we don't forget that.
Oh my goodness.
Why don't we just make a pact right now? I'll shake both our hands.
Title
That I'll,
sequences.
Yeah. Anybody like Sierra, my fiance, knows what I would pick as the absolute first pick, and I can't say it here to spoil for future episodes, but my first pick is rock solid.
I want to know.
But and it's not Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, which is a very good one. All right, but Aaron, I think you had an out of the park pick here. I mean, when this song plays in Avengers Endgame, dude, I was about to run out of my seat and charge at Thanos' army right headfirst into the screen and bounce off it. Like my heart was racing
When
in
he
my seat.
shouts Avengers and whispers Assemble.
Yes. And then everyone, you see Chris Hemsworth as Thor screaming.
I don't know if you guys saw the meme.
Comparing this to Star Wars is a good comparison for like the next generation.
Yeah, it's the cultural movement. What were you saying?
No, before Endgame came out, there was this meme that was like, if Avengers Endgame doesn't do this, I'm gonna be pissed off. And it was like an animated version of a wide shot panning backwards, and I was like, there is no way they're gonna do that. That would cost way too much money. And I saw in the theater that happened, and I literally lost my mind. I was like, holy crap, the Russo brothers did it. This movie is amazing.
God, that close up on Chris Evans when he says Avengers Assemble, like just the grit in the delivery and then the music swelling, like dun, 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 dun. Everybody running, screaming, charging, like it's like adrenaline, dude. It's cocaine to the vein. It's like
that's pre-workout. Like
it's for real.
You don't need anything else. That's just watch that scene.
They had all of us just ready to fight a war. Like it was a different time for Marvel then, but the music is really, really something else.
There we go. Our speaker was having a little bit of technical difficulties, but it's back in full force.
Nah, bro, I'm dead.
There's so many different instruments being played right now. Like when you watch the video of the orchestral group playing, like there's such a big group, so many different the percussions, the brass, like it's and the swell. This song, I keep using a lot of metaphors, but this song when the way it swells, it feels like the ocean, like it's just whoosh,
Yep.
and
Yep.
when it comes in hard like a tidal wave, and then it like draws back. And
Dude, I love how much you guys are talking up this pick.
No, I mean, I'm good. Honestly, all these picks are phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's a little bit sad that we each didn't get to pick all of them on our own list. But
Right.
Yeah.
the thing
For
about
sure.
this is, I just thought about it now, is that Alan Silvestri has a great way of, in the current era, using classical instruments. Because these are instruments that were used back in Star Wars, back in Jurassic Park. But nowadays, you get more of the Hans Zimmer, more Ludwig Göransson from like Black Panther and Tenet. They use a lot more technology in their composing versus these are like brass, saxophone, violins, cellos. Like, it's crazy that this sort of a theme could still be made nowadays and be that iconic.
It's like raw, acoustic, and real. Like it's very
in the moment with
orchestral.
them.
Yeah. Oh, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing, but much like my Jurassic Park music, it's never going to sound the same with these future movies that they're coming out with. I don't think it's gonna slap quite the same way.
Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars will never beat the original Avengers
Infinity
movies.
War Endgame, yeah.
Yeah, it'll definitely be
I
hard
mean,
to
if they
top
do,
that.
then we can do
More
an episode
power.
about how wrong I was.
Yeah,
I highly
for
doubt it. Like,
If they
we
do,
can only hope that they're good. Look,
I know.
we hope we're wrong.
Yeah. I know.
that's an interesting like podcast topic, and we've mentioned a bunch of good ideas for topics, but talking about like how long are they going to be able to carry Marvel without the main superheroes?
No, I know.
Without Iron Man and Captain America and probably pretty soon Thor, and like
me and
at what point do they recast?
Like, we
start
were-
over.
right after Endgame happened, we were so hyped and happy that this movie was amazing. But like right almost when we got home, we were like, man, dude,
Dang, it's over.
like, I really hope they don't screw it up. This should just be the end. If it was the end, I'd be happy. If they go on, it's probably not going to be as good. And we were kind of right, because a lot of the movies have come out and they haven't been as good.
Yeah,
It's just a sad moment, but they need to make money. And
yeah,
so
I know,
but they're not really making money, honestly.
right.
Apparently not anymore. Now that I picked them for my box office draft.
Besides No Way Home, they haven't really made money. So
Well, hopefully Guardians of the Galaxy 3 comes through.
I
For your boy over here.
have a sneaking suspicion that it's about to, but let me get in my last pick here.
that is
If
true.
you have to.
This time.
Hopefully, me and Aaron can talk as much as we did about Aaron's pick for you.
This is a really tough one. I don't think anyone will really have much to say about it.
Because it sucks.
Because I'm doing it again. I'm picking my list for me.
It's so hard not to.
Yeah,
with this.
I'm passing up a ton of iconic picks, and I'm passing up ones that are great but similar to ones that maybe I've already picked. What I'm ultimately going to land on, to get a different feel, different director, and a different mix in there, is the soundtrack, or the score, I'm sorry, to The Fantastic Mr. Fox by Alexander Desplat.
I have not seen that movie. I've been recommended
Me
it
either.
by 4 people.
You've been recommended by a fifth.
By a fifth.
Can you play... Oh, I'm playing it. Can you play Mr. Fox in the Fields?
Yeah.
This, I don't know. I hadn't seen this movie until recently, but me and Aaron have talked about before how with some aspects of the movie, especially with music, there's kind of these thresholds where...
Which one?
Mr. Fox in the Fields. There's these thresholds where you don't notice it you notice it because it's bad. You don't notice it because it's good, and it plays into the movie so well you don't pay attention to it. But then it crosses another threshold where it's so good that you start to notice it again. And whereas this music might not be as exciting, it's more of a calmer tone. It's just something that is so deeply connected and intertwined with the movie itself, and the feeling of watching the movie, the feeling of the plot of the movie, that I had to pick it for my list.
Yeah, I think this is one of those that it's like you gotta watch it with the song,
Yeah, I mean, I
Or with the
haven't
movie, sorry.
seen this or heard really anything about it, so I'm
saying
I
the only
assume
thing I've
it's
heard
phenomenal.
from it is Andrew's like, you should watch it.
and based off of your last 4 picks, I would assume it is phenomenal. So
Yeah, I think that the movie's almost kind of like this weird. This is a good song too. This movie's almost kind of like a weird dreamscape. So the music to me feels kind of dreamy. Feels kind of like a daze, like a daydream. Mm-hmm. And Mr. Fox kind of lives with his head in the clouds, like doing things his own way. So the music just ties really, really well into it. And I'm picking it over some crazy heavy hitters here because of my personal connection with it.
Definitely. Yeah. It's a wild card pick.
Yep.
You know, and sometimes those are what it takes to win, you know? Justin, you're about ready to pick the last pick in this draft, the 5th pick on your team. Who are you taking?
All right. So, as Andrew said, there is a lot of good stuff that I could have picked that I have listed here. But this pick is a favorite of mine, but also recently been a favorite of a lot of people in the world. This film has had a resurgence, which I think rightfully so. I don't think this film deserves the hate it gets. Really the only film that this particular set of people have composed. Daft Punk's Tron Legacy.
Oh, nice.
That film has such an iconic score. The fact that they just came in being like, yep, this is what we can do, and they're not doing anything ever again. Hopefully Tron 3, but I don't know if that's going to happen. But, I mean, it's got like, I don't know, over 20 tracks, and every single one is so listenable. If I were to pick a favorite one for you to play, probably be literally the end titles. Tron Legacy end titles. The way the film ends when it says, you know, directed by... Bro.
Oh, yeah.
This is what you would see in I
feel like I could run 100 miles per hour in
an anime club sequence. Like, this is what you would see. And they, like, this right here...
Kind of gives me John Wick vibes, too.
Oh, yeah. Like club.
Like the club sequence in John Wick 1. Like, holy crap. I mean, it's sad to see that they might not compose another film ever again, but the fact that they did this, I'm happy. Like, Tron Legacy, I love the film.
I enjoy this movie a lot, too.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people don't really like it, which I haven't seen the original Tron. I want to watch it, but this Tron...
You're not missing much.
Attached. That's what I've heard. But I just want to watch it to give it its honor for having Tron Legacy as a sequel.
Rough.
But
it's rough.
Tron Legacy, like, I love it. I grew up with it. The soundtrack is just so good. I mean, Overture, The Grid, having freaking... man, what's his name? The old dude.
Oh, Jeff Bridges?
Jeff Bridges. Like, he literally talks in the beginning of the track, and then it just goes into the song. The Son of Flynn. Like, play The Son of Flynn really quick. It's got so much synth in it.
There's so many on here.
Yeah,
I don't even know
many.
Where it's at.
It's literally just an EDM album, and it's phenomenal. I think it's number 3.
I feel like I have buyer's remorse now. There's some other ones that I wish that I had picked. It's so hard to leave some of these out. Yeah.
For sure. Have you seen Tron Legacy?
Yeah, when I was much younger.
And I know some of the visuals are a little bit iffy with the CGI whatever, but
I haven't seen it in a long time, so in my head the visuals are amazing.
It's so vibrant. The color palette is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. I love how much teal and blue there are, and when the orange comes in with Clue, I
just
haven't
the
seen
suit
it.
that Clue's wearing, like,
bro,
he looks so cool.
I used to grab my DVDs and hold them as if they were discs. Like, that's how much I love this movie. And every time at the end, I would be so happy that he got with the girl. I was like, I want that.
I just saw a clip of this movie on TikTok the other day, and I was like, man, like, I should rewatch this sometime.
Yeah, it's like a video game come to life, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, talking about the soundtrack, Daft Punk did such an amazing job. I think solid pick for me for the
and they were
pick.
Shown in the actual movie too.
Yes, which I didn't know that until like my 7th watch.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And now they're retired, and I think it's a perfect thing to end off my snake draft with.
I think it's just really electric. Like, it's...
Yeah. As funny as it is, it's also accurate.
All right, I'm going to list off my team, and then Andrew, and then Justin. So I have Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Sherlock Holmes, and The Avengers.
and I have Jurassic Park, the original, How to Train Your Dragon, The Dark Knight, Incredibles, and The Fantastic Mr. Fox.
And I have Interstellar, The Lion King, the original, Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, Inception, and Tron Legacy.
So, again, if you're listening to this episode, vote in the comments of who has the best team, Aaron, Andrew, or Justin. Towards the end of these episodes, what we like to do sometimes, if we have time, is kind of talk about the other people's teams. You know, so Andrew, I wish I thought of The Incredibles. That's a good one.
Yeah, I was gonna say we have to do honorable mentions.
Yes.
Yeah.
even if they're just really quick.
The Dark Knight, I'm glad you got it, man. You know, like I'd feel wrong
Deserve
if someone else had The Dark Knight. Fantastic Fox, that's going to be a wild card for you. But I think your other pick, especially like Jurassic Park, is definitely going to swing hard for you.
I think the one I'm most jealous of that you possess is Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one that I wanted like the most, but I had Jurassic Park and Star Wars above it because I knew like just how good they are, you know? But Pirates is it's just such a fun movie.
I didn't know if I was going to get away with Jurassic Park.
No, I was going into this expecting not to pick Empire or Star Wars, Jurassic Park, or Pirates, or the Dark Knight trilogy. So I built my list around trying to combat those without having to pick them.
You could have had The Dark Knight.
I could have.
The Dark Knight was on the board for a while.
You had your head set on a list, and I think Interstellar was a really good pick. I respect the hell out of the fact that you chose that first.
Yeah,
I didn't want to also.
And Inception
I
to
love
go at
Dark
4,
Knight, but I already had 3 Hans Zimmer, so I didn't want to pick 4 out of 5 of Hans Zimmer.
Yeah, you're definitely the Hans Zimmer team, and then me and Andrew, I think, don't have any repeats.
No repeats.
Yeah,
Man, I feel sad about myself.
Which there's not. We didn't pick.
Yeah, but like the goat's a goat.
Yeah,
We didn't pick as many John Williams as I thought we were going to.
I think that
I thought like that was going to make up the majority of all of our lists.
I think John Williams. We could have easily gone, Harry Potter, and we could have gone. What he also does, E.T.
Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones is on my list for honorable mentions.
Yeah.
The number one honorable mention that I'm upset that I didn't get to pick was James Bond, the Monty Norman version. Do you want to play some James Bond for us?
I have Skyhill on my list here.
Skyfall.
Sorry.
Didn't John Williams also do the original Superman?
I believe so.
And
yeah, the original Superman's
Jaws.
really good.
What am I playing?
I have Jaws on my list here too. He did Jaws.
What am I playing?
Can you play James Bond's theme? Really, any of them's fine. I like the Monty Norman one, but yeah,
James Bond is kind of sad that none of us mentioned it, but it's just because all these are so good.
Yeah, you pick like an icon. Like, man, Jaws is a crazy one. Probably Jaws might be the most iconic theme of all time. Like when I was thinking that when you said Star Wars, I think Jaws is like it's not as. But Jaws is like that. Like everyone knows that. That's been used for all kinds of pop culture throughout the years.
It's really crazy when all you need is 2 notes, and the 2 that come to mind is Jaws and the Dark Knight trilogy, because Jaws is and the Dark Knight is what is it? Like just 2 notes. All you need, and you know what it is.
I really didn't want to pick. The only reason I didn't want to pick James Bond is because I feel like some of the like aspects of it are a little similar to the Incredibles one. And then I didn't pick.
Yeah.
I didn't pick The Social Network because I didn't know if everyone else would appreciate it as much as I do.
Man, I haven't seen that one, but I didn't even know that would be a contender for score.
That's like Andrew's like
sleeper pick for greatest score.
I've
that's
heard
like
that
one of his
film is,
what
awesome.
would you say, like top 3 movies?
Top 5 favorite
Top
movies
5?
for sure.
Yeah.
It's just really
Can I see your phone?
like hard to see. Yeah. I've heard about Social Network being a great film, but it's hard to see like Jesse Eisenberg being in a great film.
Jesse, you said you have a hard time seeing Jesse Eisenberg being a great film.
No, like it's hard to hear because of how much hate he's gotten for like Lex Luthor and stuff like that.
It's like, it can't be true.
It's like, oh, he's bad in one film, he's bad in everything.
This is called Hand Covers Brutes by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross for The Social Network. Like, I can so perfectly picture the opening of this movie where he's walking across the Harvard campus and he's like wearing his flip-flops and his jacket and it's cold outside and it's like early, I don't know, it's like the break of dawn or sunset, but it's like dark-ish, and he's just like walking across the campus, and there's like it's I don't want to spoil the movie because I know you haven't seen it, but it's just kind of somber. Like the music captures like a feeling of emptiness in life when we don't really have
Oh, it's that bass.
we don't really have like a direction or a focus, and kind of like it feels like being lost, it feels like being empty, and there's long stretches of emptiness in the music where you're waiting for the next chord. This is patient songwriting. Like they chose to really make the audience wait, and I think it paid off really well.
This song kind of reminds me of like the Man of Steel, doesn't it?
Yeah, I feel like that's another example of patience, of building really well. And
Gosh, man, this is why I love music so much, because I've heard about this movie so much. Listening to just that 1 minute snippet,
now you
like, I need to go watch that movie. Like it's insane.
I think that movie is one of the best written screenplays of all time, and I think if it doesn't capture you in the first 10 minutes, I don't understand that person that it doesn't capture in the first 10 minutes. You're not going to like the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
But it's I think it has a good opening, and the script is quick, the dialogue's quick, the actors really do a good job of capturing that.
It's quick, but it's all like relatively boring, but they make it interesting, you know. And I feel like that's part of what you like about it. It's
kind of is it a biopic or is it loosely a biopic?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit dramatized. I think that Zuckerberg's come out saying like, yeah, I'm not exactly like that. Like that's a little extreme, but it is mostly it is true events.
Yeah, so I mean that's kind of what those films draw to, but that's what kind of like puts them in their own categories.
Does it so much better than any other based on a true story, I feel like.
Yeah.
It's a good movie.
I'm always loose, or I don't know, I use the term loosely, but I'm always loose or more forgiving on based on true stories, because it's just immediately like, oh, okay, they're basing it on true stories, so like I can gravitate towards this more because like this is what actually happened.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely gonna watch that as soon as I can. So
my last two, since I've already named a bunch of my honorable mentions, my last two honorable mentions are Michael Giacchino for Ratatouille, and we already said Indiana Jones. Where's my other of my last two? Oh, Danny Elfman for Spider-Man, if I didn't already say that.
Nice.
Yep.
Your honorable mentions?
Okay, so I have quite a few. I should probably limit it to 5, right?
Yeah, and then pick one that you want to listen to.
Or you could rapid fire them.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll rapid fire them and then pick one I want to listen to.
All right.
Rocky.
Yep, I have that here.
Gladiator.
Oh, yeah.
Dances with Wolves. The Revenant. I feel like people need to see that movie.
I haven't seen that one yet.
I still have to see it as well.
That is a great movie. First movie that Leonardo DiCaprio won an Oscar for, so amen. Joker. I know you don't like it that much, but the soundtrack's amazing. The Shape of Water won the Oscar over Dunkirk, which made me sad until I watched the movie, and it was great. Tenet. I think that soundtrack's heavily underrated. The Batman, Blade Runner 2049, Pacific Rim, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Even though people hate that movie, that soundtrack is amazing. It was
that movie has a lot of like. There's no in between for that movie. It's like really high points and really low points.
Yeah.
The music for Electro.
Yes.
Yeah. Really good.
That specifically is top tier.
Yeah. And it matches the cinematics like really well. Like they tied it into the movie really well.
Yeah. And two more honorable before I do the one I want to listen to. Captain America: The Winter Soldier. As jumbled as that music is, I think it fits the film so well. I would suggest listening to that soundtrack again. Each track is heavily different, but it fits it so well. And because my wife wanted me to mention it, Finding Nemo, it actually does have a great soundtrack.
Is that James Newton Howard? I think it might be.
Let me just...
I was listening to some of the Finding Nemo soundtrack in anticipation of this episode, and I didn't pick it.
It's Thomas Newman.
Oh, okay.
And then the actual one I want you to play is Man of Steel. Man of Steel has a great soundtrack. What are you going to do with the rest of the world? That's pretty much the main theme. If you fast forward to like 3 minutes, you'll get the main like of it.
God, this is so good. Just a picture of Henry Cavill's face.
Yeah, it is. It's so good.
I don't know if it's my Wi-Fi or connection or what, but it's not playing yet. So
I'll keep talking. Hans Zimmer had.
Jeez.
Yeah, Hans Zimmer had the extremely difficult task of one-upping John Williams' Superman theme. In my humble opinion, I think he definitely did better than John Williams, and that's a hard task to complete. But this theme is so epic, so emotional. It makes you literally want to fly in the sky. Like,
I just watched this movie again last week, and it's phenomenal.
yeah,
Like, it's such a good movie.
it's really.
I feel like it's slept on now a lot because of
The DC.
how bad DC has
Yeah.
been, you know. But like,
it's-
this movie was so good. This movie is like on par with all the best Marvel movies.
Just
Yeah,
take
that's the hard part, is because it came out when Thor: The Dark World came out, so Marvel was already in phase 2, and this was the Iron Man of the DCU, and it's like, you can't take 2013 and bring it back to 2008. You gotta like take 2013 and be like, this is the Iron Man of the DCU. You gotta give it its chance.
They also
Yeah.
took a very different approach, and people were coming to see like you said, the Iron Man of the DCU, and they're like, this isn't funny. Like,
Yeah.
this isn't this
Dark.
But it was so good if you take it for what it is, and if you watch it as just a solo movie, as just a superhero movie, and not the start of the DCU. It is a really well-made movie.
Yeah,
I love the physics that they display.
It
You know,
looks
like
so good,
it
too.
looks so realistic. You know, like how they like kind of lean back to get the energy, and then they
Yep.
leap forward. You know, like it's so good.
that end fight in the sky.
Yeah,
I actually, which I wouldn't do ever again because it tripped me out, but I watched it in IMAX 3D, and I was the third row, so I was
man.
in there, and it
was in the
it was
sky
an
with
experience.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You guys have both said a lot of honorable mentions, and I pretty much had the same ones on my list there. But I want to play the Batman soundtrack. I like this soundtrack more than The Dark Knight, personally. Maybe it's because I just like the movie more, too. But this song, like, as soon as I got home from the theater, listen to this.
This was like,
you know, like
started.
it was on in the car on my way home. Like, this song was stuck in my head for days after watching this, and that hasn't happened to me before with like a soundtrack for a movie.
It's hard to separate the weight of nostalgia, something we talk about a lot. But the reason I pick Hans Zimmer over it is because my formative years were definitely shaped by listening to his music
Yeah.
in The Dark Knight. But this is beautiful.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Yeah, taking out, obviously, I would always lean towards The Dark Knight, but if I'm trying to remove that nostalgia from me, it all the Batman themes we've gotten have been really good.
Yeah.
And Michael Giacchino did a great job at trying to match Hans Zimmer. But this is a 6.5 minute song,
Yeah.
with which the first half is very emotional and the second half is like brooding.
So cool.
The Riddler theme's really good as well.
Yeah.
And the Catwoman theme.
Yeah.
Very, very, I think, jazz oriented.
I think the Riddler theme is really scary.
This,
You can
I
just
know-
like see, like looking through the
yeah.
binoculars.
that-
And
right?
it's the
Like,
first thing I
Yeah,
thought
it's
of
operatic.
after the movie, which I'm sure you guys have heard of or know about, is that the Catwoman felt very Arkham style, the games, which I loved, and that's why she's my favorite Catwoman live action
Agreed.
by far.
Oh yeah, agreed.
Agreed.
I cannot wait to see, as much as I want to see Robert Pattinson in the Batman 2, I cannot wait to see Catwoman hopefully in the Batman 2. You gotta stop.
It's just
So,
so
you're gonna
good.
put, like,
you
50
can't keep
Batman
playing this. I
songs.
mean, if we
I
want,
love this movie.
if we want to just sit here and listen to the Batman soundtrack, we can. But
Okay.
I think
I
that
guess ends here.
we also touched on it, but Harry Potter as well, if we haven't formally mentioned that as a
Yeah.
honorable mention.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. I think we should wrap this episode up
It's
before we
been
just
a lot
keep
of fun.
talking.
I'm
and
glad.
talking.
I'm glad that we went this long and didn't cut it short because I'm glad we got to say all of our thoughts and our favorites.
Yes, I like it when we don't have like a time crunch and we're able to just kind of go with the flow of the episode and go on some tangents. Like this episode has spawned a lot of ideas for future conversations, which is always nice. I wrote down some of them so we don't forget. But Justin, thanks so much for coming to the studio and
Thank you guys for having
drafting
me.
a stellar team.
I also thank you guys that I have a back support on my chair. But yeah, this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, again, Justin has his own podcast, Cinema 3D, where they talk about basically everything that we talk about here
Except
as well.
a little bit less better than Aaron and Andrew.
Oh, come on.
You got to talk your show up.
Yeah.
We release episodes every month. That's our goal.
What day do you release them on?
That's the thing. We don't have a day.
Okay.
No, life's so busy. We try and release around the second or third week, but we are releasing our next one within the next week.
Let's go.
That should be what?
I said, let's go.
Oh, I think you said what's it called?
No.
But yeah, episode 4 is coming out soon. Eventually, we're trying to get to 2 episodes every month, but we'll see if that happens. So
Yeah. Consistency is key.
You're going to be doing 2 episodes a month with us also.
I mean, that would be amazing.
You're going to be like a podcast pro by the time you guys film again.
I would like to be the first person you call
Oh, on an episode?
besides Zach. No.
Have you called him?
No, Zach is great. I watched a couple episodes with him. He's great.
We love having guests, so we'll definitely have you back. And make sure if you loved his list or if you hated it to let him know in the comments. Let all of us know what you think. We would love to interact with you guys, debate, argue, agree, share a love of movies, shows, music, and all these things that we care about.
Definitely attack Andrew personally in the comments. It really gets him going.
I definitely I looked like I was bullied in high school.
That comment, man. That comment was something
If
else.
you can top that roast, we will reference you all the time.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have any imagination either, so like that sucks.
Too young.
We got
unimaginative.
a comment on ours that said if you weren't born in the 80s, you shouldn't talk about movies in the 80s. And I was like, all right. Cool.
Guess I can't enjoy things. Sorry.
Yeah, we're trying to pay respect to the movies that you apparently like.
I guess
so
I
much.
can't buy a house that was made in the 80s either. Like,
If you weren't born as a composer, you shouldn't talk about it.
yeah, like so many hot takes.
All right. Thanks again, everyone, for listening. Backseat Directing. And that's a wrap.